Welcome to Website Design Made Simple, the podcast for busy small business owners who want a high-performing website that converts and sells their offers, even while they're sleeping. Because you deserve to have a strategic and beautiful website that truly represents your brand and positions you as the expert that you are. I'm your host, Jenny B., web designer and creative director at Jenny B Designs, where we believe that your website is the one thing that makes you sales and builds your brand at the same time. Ready to say goodbye to a website that you're embarrassed to share? And hello to a money-making, personality-packed powerhouse? Let's head into today's episode. Ever wonder how website designers create the designs that they do? I thought today it would be fun to do an episode about how I come up with my designs and what you can expect if you work with me or if you work with another web designer, and what inspires us and why we create what we create. Before I get into the episode, if we haven't already met, I'm Jenny B. I own Jenny B Designs. We are a brand and web design studio, and I am so passionate about helping other small business owners really shine online and get a brand and website that they are proud of, that they're obsessed with, and happy to share out with potential clients and collaborators everywhere. So let's get into the episode. I want to talk a little bit about where I come up with my designs and where the process stems from. I have two types of clients that I work with. Some people come to me and they already have a brand that they are happy with. And by brand, let's establish what that means. That means their visual brand, their logo, their colors that they use, their fonts, and their visual look and feel that they have been using out in the world, be it on their current websites or in social media or in printed materials, whatever it is, they come to me with a brand that they use and they love and that we are building their website from. That's client number one. Client number two comes to me and they need a new brand. So they do not have a visual identity that they currently use and love. And we are building that first and then building the website from there. Let's start with client number two, the one that comes to me that needs a brand and a website design. The first step in the project is that, and this applies to both, I send a questionnaire out to my potential client, learning more about their brand, their wants, their needs, and I ask them for some inspirational websites that they love and some inspirational logos, colors, designs, and even pictures to get a really good sense of their visual look and feel that they're going for. And then we have a strategy call together. And on that strategy call, we spend 60 minutes together. We talk exactly about their business, their target audience, understanding their goals. What do we want people to do when they get onto the website? And how do we want people to feel when they encounter their brand? What are we trying to motivate them to take action on? All of those things to really dig deep and to get a really good, clear understanding of my client's business. And we also get a good understanding of my client's inspirations. And I emphasize this word inspirations because it is so key. Everything that we share and things that they like are inspirations. We are not using them to copy them, but we are getting inspired from them. From there, I have a designer, a graphic designer who helps me with the visual branding aspect. And we work up 3 different logo concepts. And we share those concepts with the client. And one of those concepts is going to come out as the winner. And what we can do is you select one that you really think encapsulates your brand. And then we go through some revisions and maybe we pull certain colors from one logo or certain fonts from another or certain design elements until we come up with a logo that represents your brand and that you are proud of. And when we have that logo, we've also nailed down the color palette. So those specific colors that will appear in everything that you show up, online, offline, everywhere. You kind of start to embody these colors. Side note, I have started to embody my brand colors. I find myself at the store buying clothing in these colors that are my brand colors. And Somehow I have so many pens that are this mom type color that's in my branding, and I've got these notebooks, and all of a sudden I look at my candles and everything just kind of you gravitate towards those brand colors because they become your identity. So you have your logo, your brand colors, and you have your fonts. And these are your body fonts. So everything in that people will be reading in the paragraphs on your website or paragraphs in text that you use, and your headline fonts. These are the headlines on your website. Most likely the wording in your social media, you're using that headline font if you're building posters or flyers or anything like that. You walk away from the first part of the project with your visual identity, your logo, your colors, and your fonts. This is the basis, the building blocks for your website. We're going to go back to client number one. They're walking into a website design project with this visual branding. They're coming to me already with their logo, their colors, and their fonts. And if you are one of those people who are coming to me with their branding, you need to be happy with that branding because that is what I am using to build your website. There will be no surprises. When you see that website, know that the colors that you're coming to me with, that's what you're going to see on screen. Those fonts, that's what you're going to see on screen. And sometimes I feel as though my clients don't fully understand that. And I want to reiterate this again. Your visual branding is what builds the basis for your website. Both clients, 1 and 2, now have their visual brand. They have the colors, the fonts, and the logo. And from there, I'm able to start building your website design. Let's talk a little bit about where my designs come from. There are 3 key pieces that I need in order to build a website. The first is your visual branding, what we just talked about. The second is your copy, the words, the exact words that are going to appear on every page of your website. And the third is the imagery, the photos that you're sharing with me. Whether you worked with a branding photographer or you grabbed some stock photography, either way, those images, that's the third kind of box that I am working with. And I'm one of those designers who feel copy comes first. I believe that copy is so important for a successful website design project. It doesn't mean that you have to have a copywriter write it for you, although I will say they're amazing at what they do. But what I am saying is that the copy matters and it's really important. I believe that you need to write the copy for the pages on your website, and from there, I will design the website. Versus the other way around. Sometimes there are website designers who kind of build their design and leave a spot where the copy should go. I think that is backwards. I like to do copy first and then build. So when I'm looking to start a website design project, I'm looking at the branding, the words, and the imagery. And I go through the words and get a sense of kind of what you're talking about, where each paragraph goes, kind of chunking it out into sections and how I might want to outline the page. I'm also thinking about your imagery. What are your images? Do you have a lot of horizontal images? Do you have a lot of verticals? Are some of you and then some are stock? Are they some of your team? What do they actually look like? And then what are the colors in them? And then thinking about your visual brand, what are those colors? What are those fonts? How is your brand making me feel? And if we work together on the branding side, I already know this. I already know the feeling that your brand is supposed to evoke. But if we didn't, then I'm looking at your brand and trying to understand your target audience and how your brand makes me feel. There are some best practices in place for building a website. And I consider myself having both a strategic side and a creative side. And actually, I think that my strategic side outweighs my creative side a little bit. But when I'm looking to build a website, I really look at it strategy first. I understand that in certain sections of the website, there needs to be specific copy, specific imagery. We need to be driving people to take action throughout the entire website. What is the goal of the website? Where are we driving people to? And then as we are designing, making sure that everything is supporting that goal. Let's start at the top of your website. that hero section, which is so important. For most of my clients, this is a full width picture, the entire top part of your screen on a website. And on that image, we picked a beautiful image that represents the benefits of what you were able to give your clients. Not what you do, but the benefits. And I use this example a lot. Like, let's talk about a dentist. I don't necessarily want to see someone sitting in the dentist chair on the top of the website. I want to see someone out in the world smiling with beautiful, straight, white teeth. That's the benefit. That's what they're going to receive when they work with you. Think about how you can show the benefit in that hero image. And on that image, you want 2 sentences. The top one is your header, and then you want a subheadline. And you want to be really specific and clear about what you do, exactly what you do, who you do it for, how you're going to help them, or how you're going to make their lives better, and then a call to action, a button guiding them to take the next step in their journey. It needs to be concise and clear over clever. This is the first section. As I'm looking at your copy, you've written those words to that first section. We've selected an image that represents the benefits that you're delivering, and we're using your fonts, the ones that are from your visual identity, and your colors. Well, for example, maybe you have some colors that are blues in your package, and grays. We might have a nice overlay on the hero image and use some text in blue. Or maybe we're deciding to use your body color, so the body font in your website is going to be blue. Understanding that and knowing that we're going to be using your blue font for your body, then what could be complementary to that based on your color palette? And thinking about your imagery, that picture from the benefits section, was there blue in there? Was there another color from your brand identity packet? What can we weave together? And how can we showcase these colors and using these fonts? Do you have a serif font, which is a little bit prettier and has a little bit of a flair? It's kind of like those fonts that have the letters and it kind of sticks out to the side a little bit. Or do you have a sans serif font, which is very clean and simple and very modern? How do your fonts make me feel? And how do we want to convey that throughout the website? And where are we trying to do? Are we trying to create a little bit of fun and funk? Do we want to use rounded edges? Do we want to use some animations, some graphics? As I'm starting to go through your website section by section, I start coming up with my design. But it all stems back to how your brand wants your potential clients to feel, and then taking into account your imagery and your copy. This is how I start to formulate my designs. And from there, I just work section to section throughout the home page and pull something together. And this is usually my first go. And I'm satisfied with kind of how everything is chunking out. But then from there, I'll start refining. What can I add to add a little bit of a flair? What can I take away to make it a little bit less busy and a little bit more open? That's a tricky one, and I always try to think to myself, what can I remove? Because I like to consider myself a modern designer, and I like to think my designs are clear and open and crisp. And in order to do that, you really have to take a step back and say, what can I take out of this equation? What can I make it a little bit more simple? What white space can I add into this design? And always thinking about it from that aspect. I'll go back through that home page and take things out or add things here and there and play around with it until I have a cohesive final product. And this is what I present to the client. At this point, this is when I share the homepage with my client. And from a previous episode about feedback, I'll link to it below. I ask them for their feedback about the homepage and what they think. Are we in alignment with what we're going for? Do you like my use of colors? Do you like my use of fonts? Do you like how I've incorporated the designs or the colors or anything like that? Let's go back and forth until we come up with a homepage that we love and that there are layouts that we're going to reuse throughout your entire website. Because here's a little secret here. And the key to a beautiful and actionable website is consistency. And getting that consistency is reusing layouts from page to page so that it looks very similar, but just different words and imagery. But you have that cohesion and that consistency guiding people to take the next step in your website. We'll work together until we are aligned on that homepage. And then from there, I'll build out the rest of the site using those layouts from the homepage and then changing them up a little bit and making sure that they fit on each page that I build on the site. But where my designs come from, it comes down to your branding and your copy and your imagery. But your branding, I'm going to say it again. And the reason for this episode, what inspired me to create it, was that I presented a homepage to a client and they were actually shocked at how it looked. And they didn't understand where I got my design from and why it looked that way. And what had happened was they came to me with their brand and they said, this is the brand that we use and we want to keep. And so I said, great. And then they shared with me some inspiration sites. And there were inspiration sites. When someone shares an inspiration site with me, I look at it and what I'm getting from that site, and I ask questions in the strategy call, why do you like this site? Do you like the feeling of it? Do you like specific layouts of it? Do you like fonts from it? Do you like colors? What is it about this website that you really like? But at the end of the day, I'm just pulling the likes from that website and interpreting that into your current site with your branding. Your branding and your copy and your imagery inform what your website looks like. It's not going to look exactly like the inspiration site. And I think that's where the problem lied with this particular client. They thought that they were going to get the exact copy or something super similar to the inspiration site. But the inspiration site is just that. It's an inspiration. It's where we pull from. But your site is built with your brand as the base. It's the foundation. And if you're not happy with your brand, then you're not going to be happy with your website. And that's something that you really need to remember. This particular client didn't like any of the fonts that we were using in the site. And they said that it didn't match the inspiration site. And why are we using fonts that are difficult to read? Well, let's go back and look at that branding that you have, that visual branding package. Those are your branded fonts. Those are the fonts that we need to appear on the website. It shouldn't be a surprise that we're using them on the website because that's what came from your branding package. Same with the colors. If you come to me with specific colors, those are the colors we're going to use on the website. And if you want to change them, then we have to go and work on your visual branding package in the beginning. But I wanted to share with you that is where the inspiration for my designs come from. It goes back to your branding, your photos, and your copy. And inspiration sites and inspiration pieces are just that, inspiration. And so I thought it was important to share this so that you know when you work with a designer, be it a website designer or a graphic designer, or anyone who is creating materials for your business, they are going to look like your visual branding. And that is why your visual branding is so important. For the most part, almost all of my clients do understand that, and they come to me because I'm able to interpret their brand and bring it to life online. And that's something that is just so fun and joyful to me. Being able to combine the strategy that is needed to build a website that converts, but also being able to play with the creative side and pull out your unique brand personality on screen onto this website and have fun with it. And create designs that you are happy to share out with the world and that you are proud to share with potential clients and colleagues and friends out there in the world. I hope you learned a few things about where website designers get their inspiration from and the actual foundation of your website. And here's the answer. It's your branding. It's where it all stems from. So thanks so much for listening, and I will talk to you next time. And that wraps up another episode of Website Design Made Simple. I hope you found the insights shared in this episode valuable and takes you one step closer to creating a website that attracts more of your ideal clients and builds your brand. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or a rating on Spotify. Your review will help us reach more small business owners like you who are ready to make more money with their website. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.